Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Worth and Wealth seminars. My name is Jennifer Duran, and I'm a program associate here at the Office of Economic Empowerment. And today, the topic is all about retirement and being retirement ready. So please stay tuned for that. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and you can find more information about that in the disclaimer in the chat. Also would like to add that all materials, including slides, supporting documents, and additional resources will be emailed to everyone by the end of the week, latest Monday. So please stay tuned for that as well. And lastly, at the end, when you click out of Zoom, there is a really brief survey just asking you to let us know what you think. What do you think about the topic, about the webinar for today, and also some suggestions for future topics. So if you have some time, please fill that out as well. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Lydia, who is a citizens representative. Lydia has 17 years of experience in banking with the US and European market from all types of sizes, from small to big corporations, all about understanding economies in the micro and macro levels. So I'll let Lydia talk a little bit more about herself, but thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure meeting everyone today. Yes, Jennifer already mentioned I represent Citizens Bank, and all my life I have been working in the banking industry in different countries. I am kind of still new to US. I've been in the US only 3 years. But it's been an interesting journey, and since the markets are different in different countries, I had to study and learn everything from micro to micro, so that I know how households economies formed, and how the big companies formed. So having all that knowledge, I'm I would say confident in sharing what I have to share with you today, and hopefully we will all be prepared for our retirement, because that's the big part of our life, when we will finally have time to do wherever we want. So I'm gonna share my screen quickly with the presentation. Okay, I think I'm in.
Yes, looks good.
Okay, okay, got it. So today's topic will be how we can make our finances ready and be fully prepared to retire, and spend the time however we want it. And I just want to add that planning for the retirement, that's an exciting opportunity, and that will allow us to think what we have achieved in life, what we have concluded at work, being fully ready to start saving, so that we can those savings can lead us to big results, and just be ready for the retirement financially, feel safe, feel freedom, and that's today's topic. So the course objectives will bring us to understanding the importance of the retirement planning. The sooner we will start, the bigger results we will get, and that's how we will secure our financial future. We will see how we can even, how small contributions, but consistent contributions, can grow over time better than, let's say, one-time big savings allocation. We will also identify key retirement income sources, because that can be not only your savings for the retirement, but also the employer contributions, different investments, and the social security that our government will provide us. We will explore retirement savings options, such as popular tools like 401k, IRS, different benefits, how they can help us to reach our goals, and also different like investment solutions. We will learn how to create a retirement budget. Give me a second. How to create a retirement budget. That's very important because there are two main things that will lead us to results, not only when it comes to our finances, but also in our life. That's discipline and that's consistency. And when we have a budget, we know what to do. Recognize common retirement planning mistakes. I don't think that I need additional comments on that. And we'll also take actions towards your retirement goals. That will be the specific workshop. I would say the work materials that we'll need to do in the end, or you can do that separately. So the importance of retirement planning. When we talk about retirement, we will no longer depend on the salaries that we are getting from our employers, which will mean that we will lose that financial security, and we'll have more stress. So the importance of retirement planning is to secure us from different things that we can possibly avoid. The financial security, knowing that we have allocated funds that we can use for our lifestyle preservation to conclude the same lifestyle that we had before, or the lifestyle that we anticipate to have, will bring us that peace of mind. Same goes with the stress reduction. We don't need stress in our retirement, right? We need our minds to be, free to explore the benefits of this world and our free time finally in our lives. Also, when it comes to inflation protection, if you have the right tools, you will not worry about your money being affected by inflation. Also, when it comes to retirement, emergency preparedness means that there can be different health, I would say mostly different health issues like medical bills, having prepared for the retirement and knowing that we have funds in case there will be any big medical bill to pay, it will not drain all our savings and will not have to, face all that stress and financial insecurity. Also, legacy building ensures that you can leave something behind for your loved ones, for your kids and grandkids. So, what's the reality? What are some of your when it comes to retirement? The reality is this, that 70% of Americans, they don't have retirement savings, which means that the only income they can rely is Social Security. And if you have your own house, it may be enough to sustain the basic life. But if you have to pay rent, if there are other expenses, if the insurance payments are high, and if there are some medical bills, it is very, very difficult to live peacefully in the retirement when you don't have retirement savings. And also when it comes to when to start saving, 42% of young Americans who could start on saving, they have not started yet. I know a lot of people in my age, I'm 35, that haven't started saving yet. But if they would start early, then they would have much more, because that will give them ability for longer time of investing and will bring more in assets. That's why it is important to start early. So retirement is our it's a unique journey for everyone, and understanding what is your goals is the first steps towards creating a solid plan. When it comes to understanding of what you want to have in the retirement, it will be very important to sit and write down. That's what I recommend always to do, is write down everything. As what are your lifestyle goals? Do you want to have the same level of lifestyle in your retirement than you have when you are still employed and working? Do you have more? Do you want to have more? Do you want to have less? So what is your lifestyle goals? How you want to spend it? Maybe the person will want to I don't know, travel, being able to do Caribbean cruises every other months. Then you have to count that in those retirement goals. What are the financial goals? How much you want to be able to have every month so that you can sustain that lifestyle? When it comes to health, what are the potential costs for, let's say, long-term care or assisted living? What are the plans for to be healthy in the and active in retirement? Will you need a gym, go to gym every year, every day, or maybe once a month to visit Cape Cod for, active swimming activities? When it comes also to work and purpose, are you planning to do any work? Are you planning maybe to finally achieve the dream of your childhood and become some professional that you haven't been able to be in your adult life? And how will that affect your financial goals? How that will affect your every month spendings? Or maybe you will do volunteering. What kind of volunteering or contributing to community you think that will be good for you and will be interesting? That, give a sec. Sorry. That is also what is important. What are your family goals? Do you want to move in and live with your kids, or you want to stay here, still live separately? Are you planning to any travel expenses to visit your families? Are you planning to actually leave them something, or spend everything that you have just for, to sustain your retirement? Will there be any charitable organizations that you will donate your funds that you'll have left after the time is gone? And also the unforeseen circumstances, like emergency expenses, something that in the financial world we call miscellaneous. That's something that you never plan, but these things, they happen. What portion of your funds you can allocate to that? All those all those goals, they are very important, because then they will give you the full picture of how your financial stability in the retirement will look like. When it comes also how much you need, that's a very good question. So Fidelity, one of the biggest financial companies, not only in our country, but also in the world, recommends that you save at least 10 times more of your starting salary by age 67. Let's say that means that if you are 30, you should be saving your starting salary from when you were 21, 22, or whenever you begin working full time. Additionally, as you get older, we at Citizens recommend raising your contributions by 1% every year. That could really make difference without really denting your overall budget. So that's how you may be prepared for the retirement and how much you may need. So I would say it will be very important to conduct a detailed analysis of your actual expenses. You can do it per week. You can do that per month. Decide what you will continue doing in retirement and for how long. You also will subtract what you will not continue doing in retirement and add new expenses, such as for medical bills or emergency funds, or those travel travel expenses that I was talking about. And if necessary, you can also attach the inflation rate to those numbers. That equals income that you will need in retirement. So I would say that's pretty easy. Understand how much you spend now, what you will continue spending, what you will not continue spending, what you will add there, and then also add the inflation rate. That's how much you will need in the retirement. If that will be a little bit difficult to calculate, you can always use there are lots of AI tools currently on the market. You can just Google through any AI, and they will help you to calculate at whatever age and year you are planning to retirement, with that inflation rate. So before we can effectively plan for the retirement, it is very important to understand where we stand financially today. And assessing your current financial position will help you to identify what you have, what you owe, and what steps you need to take to reach your retirement goals. First, we need to calculate our net worth. This involves adding up all your assets such as savings, investments, property, and you will need to subtract all your liabilities, what you own, like mortgages, loans, credit card debts. That gives you a clear picture of your financial standing. Ideally, that it will be plus something. Next, you will need to review your monthly income. You will look at all your sources of income, including your salary. Maybe you'll have a rental house and you have a rental income or any side jobs. That will give you understanding of your income streams, and that will help you to determine how much you can save for retirement. Let's say if it's diversified and you have, let's say, rental income, you have salary, and then you have a side job. When you will retire, you will basically will not have your salary. Will you have that side job? If not, then you will have only rental income. Will it allow you to sustain the lifestyle that you want? If not, then that's where your savings will come and help for you. Track your expenses. It is very important to know where your money is going. And I would say do this exercise for the couple of months. Just write down all of your spendings. That will give you understanding on what category you'll spend more. There are two types of spendings. I would say fixed expenses such as rent, insurance, and then there are variable expenses such as groceries, entertainment, and other things. So that will give you understanding not only how much you like your life per month cost, but also where you are spending more than you would want to spend. Because there are lots of times when we don't track our unfixed spendings and expenses such as groceries or entertainment, some takeout food and other things that we will be in shock when we will count that in the first months. And when I did that exercise for me several years ago, I'll be honest with you, I was shocked how much I spent on going out and eating outside. And that will give you understanding on where you stand, and like maybe you can cut that a little bit, being more reasonable in spendings. Evaluate your savings. So take a close look at your current retirement savings. Are you contributing enough to your 401k or your IRA accounts? Are there contributions to increase your contributions? That part will determine on where you're on track or not. A lot of companies, they do additional contributions on whatever you will contribute. And if you, let's say, contribute 1% a year, your company will add 1%. If you will contribute, usually they will add up to 5%. Basically, that will be 10% of pre-tax money contributions if you will increase it to 5%. Identify gaps. So finally, when we will compare our current financial position to the goals that we've set for retirement, we will see the real gap between where we are now and where we need to be, and that will give us understanding on how to build a plan to bridge them. That will be on this one. So when it comes to types of retirement plans, there are many different types of retirement plans, and they are different, but they all designed to help people save money. So IRA money, individual retirement plans, is one of the most common retirement plans. As an individual, you can set up an IRA at the financial institution, at any bank, or maybe brokerage firm, to hold investments. That can be stocks, that can be mutual funds, that can be bonds, that can be even liquid cash. But though they all will be marked for retirement. The limits on how much you can contribute each year, and depending on the type of IRA, decides how funds are taxed or protected from taxation when you will make deposits or withdrawals. So when it comes to IRA accounts, if you will make a distribution from that account earlier, then you are I think it's 59 and a half, then there will be a portion of fees that you will have to pay, because the account again is designed for the retirement. Can be also another type is employer sponsored retirement programs. Those are the 401ks that not only 401ks, there can be also Roth 401k, that can be 401(c), and different other savings plans. So the good part about this plans is that it's a pre-tax money, which means that 1% of your pre-tax income, like salary, is higher than post-tax, and then that will allow you to allocate more because you are not paying taxes on the amount. You will be paying taxes only when you will be already retired, depending on how much you will withdraw per year. When it comes to, so there are two main types of employer-sponsored retirement programs. There are defined benefits plans. Probably you've heard references to pension plans, like in black and white movies when they, like early relatives, talk about good old days. In olden times, some companies guaranteed workers a set benefit in retirement. That is the defined benefit plans, and also there are defined contribution plans. Most of the companies they do use this defined contribution plan, and that's the 401k, 401(c), that will enable employees to contribute to an individual account with the company's plan. That's the contributions that most of the companies are offering. And you can they will match your contribution, most of the companies, to a certain percentage, but it doesn't mean that you cannot allocate more of that. Per year, you can allocate, I believe, $23,500 pre-tax money, and not more. That's what the government regulates us to do. For self-employed or small business owners, there are also different retirement plans. There are same 401k, so there are IRA-based plans, but they all are profit-sharing plans, which are type of defined contribution plans. So if you are self-employed, if you are sole proprietor, or if you have a small business and you own LLC or a corporation, you still can qualify to do those retirements. And I would say for businesses, the limits are higher, and that is also a great opportunity to save on taxes when you are contributing to those retirement plans. So when it comes to employer benefits, I would say visit your HR department. If you have an internal portal, go there. If you have a person to talk to, just talk to that person and learn more about programs and what details those programs have, and if you qualify for them, and if they are available. There are companies that require employee to be employed at least 1 year to qualify for those additional contributions from the company, or to even open a retirement benefit plan. So while many of us may think that employer-sponsored plans is the only way to save for retirement, there are many other options available. As savers, we can grow our money by opening our own IRA account and 401k accounts with the bank and different financial companies that will leverage our assets and, let's say, our partners' assets. Own equity in personal residence. We can rent out real estate. We can put money into brokerage account, be managed by either robot or personal financial advisor. There are different options to save for the retirement. My advice will be to diversify. The more you have in different sources and places to save, the safer you will feel, because then there may something happen to one source where you invest, where you allocate your funds, but nothing will happen to all of them. When we are talking about different financial situations in the world or in the country, diversification is the key to, I would say, our peace of mind. So when it comes to why we should start saving early, that's because there is such thing as a compound interest, and it's very powerful. I would say it's one of the most powerful tools for building wealth. So it allows your savings to grow exponentially over time by earning interest not only on your original investment, but also on the interest accumulated. The compound interest works by reinvesting your earnings so that you can interest on both the initial amount and the growth. And then the snowball effects come into play. So why it matters for retirement savings? The earlier you start saving, the more time your money will have to grow through the compounding. Even small, consistent contribution can lead to significant growth over the years. And I would say that the lesson here is very simple. Just start as early as possible. And even if you will start small, consistency and discipline will give you more than, let's say, one time a year, like allocating a certain amount to a savings account. When it comes to saving for retirement, it most counts to start early and save in small ways. I encourage you all to review the small ways to start saving, and ask what are some of your strategies you will have. You can talk to your colleagues, to your friends, or use different AI tools to help you with different strategies on saving. But as I already said before, just use all the types of different tools, and then you will realize what tool works best for you, what tool you are most comfortable with, because not all of us are comfortable with investing with stock market, because that's unpredictable and that requires a portion of risk. But when we are talking about unrisky tools, then for some people the savings account will work. For some people, specified benefit planning tools will work. There are lots of different different types. Just try with the several of them and see what works best for you. So one of the most effective ways to build your retirement is by maximizing your contributions to those tax advantaged accounts. Tax advantage, by that I mean the pre-tax accounts that have your pre-tax money. That will ensure that you are utilizing the opportunities available to grow your wealth over time. So as I already mentioned that 401k is 23.5 per year and IRAs are $7,000 per year. That's the maximum that you can contribute. If you can afford to contribute that much, I would say do that, because then that will give you that peace of mind in the retirement that we are looking for. Catch up in contributions. So if you are 50 or older, contribute extra to retirement accounts. And when it comes to employer match, always take advantage of it. If they offer 5%, then you should allocate at least 5%, because basically that's free money what they're giving you. And your next employer may not have that offer. And with this one, getting additional free money, I don't see a reason to not do that. Increase your contributions over time. Gradually raise your savings rate as your income will grow. Aim for 15 to 20% of your retirement or of your income if possible. I would say in the financial world, when it comes to personal spendings, there is this rule 50-30-20, which means that 50% of our income should be our essential spendings to sustain our life. 20% should be investments, whether they are for retirement or just for the future. And 30% should be non-essential spendings, things like takeout, entertainment, gifts, and other things. So if you follow that rule, you will have balanced lifestyle, but also you will know that you contribute 20% of your income every month to the future you. And to help with that, you can automate your savings and set up those auto transfers on the day of your when you get your salary. So my suggestion will be to do that on the day when you will get salary. When it comes to 401ks, you will not even see those money. They will go to that account even before you will receive your paycheck. But setting up those auto transfers, you will not you will not need to do anything. The system will do everything for you, and the money will be already transferred, and then you will see on the account wherever is left for you to spend. That gives that ease, and sometimes psychologically it's difficult for us to transfer funds to another account because we will see how funds are leaving our checking account. So to save us from that uncomfortable feeling, auto transfers comes in help. I would say review your contributions and the impact to paychecks. The more you will, like, even if you contribute in small amounts, it can really add up over time. And plus, if your employer will be matching contributions, you will like double your savings. So let's say if you have salary of, let's like compare 40 to 60. If you'll have a salary of $40,000, the contribution of 2%. So basically if you will contribute 2% every month from every paycheck, you will receive basically only $56 less. That's not a lot for the for our monthly expense. So, but then in the end of the year, we will have $800 contribution. Let's say if we'll compare it to 4%, we will have like almost double. and that's what you contribute. Imagine if your employer will add the same amount, so you'll have not only 1,600, but also 3,200. And then you will have to pay, you will receive only $110 less. Will you be able to sustain your monthly life on the salary less than $100 in order to get in the end of the year 3,200 saved for your retirement? That's a very good question. When we compare small things like $110 per month is not a lot, and then in the end it will give us 3,200. That's a lot. So those small, I would say when we compare that, that's where we will see the real value. Another topic to discuss is the Social Security, because I know that we all rely on on those Social Security benefits when we will retire. Social Security benefits are a good way to supplement income during the retirement, but it should not be the main source of income. And depending on the age of your retirement, you will have access to either full or reduced benefits. And reviewing your Social Security statement to calculate your estimated benefits is a great way to understand how much you might be eligible to receive. So for those who were born, let's say from 43 to 54, age of full benefits is 66 years old. So if you will retire earlier than 66, let's say here at 62, you will receive 75% of those Social Security benefits. So the good question is to ask for yourself until what age you can work, so that you will understand how you can make sure that you will qualify for 100%. When it comes to Social Security, the benefits you're eligible for increase depend on the age when you will decide to start collecting the benefits. The longer you will wait to collect, the higher your benefits will be. This graph shows, depending on what age you will retire, what will be your set benefits for the Social Security. So since Social Security funds could run out by 2034, we may not have access to traditional Social Security benefits. Let's say I personally will retire after that, so I may face a situation when the Social Security benefits will look different or may not even be be available for me. That means that we must make sure that we start invest early, maximize our retirement contributions, count on the compound interest. I would say just rely on yourself, because when we rely on the government or other social benefits, we are dependable on them. And on the retirement, we want to be as independent as we can so that we can live with that peace of mind. Creating the retirement budget. So when we create the budget for us when we still work, that gives us understanding on how much we spend on what. When we do that exercise of calculating, let's say 2 months of our expenses, that will allow us to know like months two, how much we spend on average on sustaining our life. And then would give us understanding on how much potentially we will be spending on like during our retirement. If we want to have the same lifestyle, if we want to have a different lifestyle, then how much that will cost for us. The budgeting is the key when it comes to understanding how much money I need and for what. That's budgeting is the key to basically everything. Without budget, there is it's like we are walking in the forest with closed eyes. All the companies have budgets, from small mom and pop shop to big corporations. All the spendings, they start with a budget, and budget dictates how much we can spend and on what. When it comes also to retirement, the big portion of our thoughts and our life is having a good health care and a long-term care. Is that something that we may need in the future? That's why it's important to have that also in mind, how that will look for us. So anticipate rising healthcare cost. Of course, the healthcare each year, it's more and more expensive. So we have to understand that in the year when we'll retire, the cost of healthcare services may be higher. And we can use, again, I suggest to use different AI tools to see what are the financial companies' projections on how much that will cost. That will help us with understanding of how much we should allocate. Supplemental and insurance options. I would say consider Medigap or Medicare Advantage plans to reduce those out of pocket costs. Long-term care needs. So 70% of Americans agreed that 65 plus will require some form of long-term care. And those options, they include either in-home care or assisted living or nursing homes. Maybe we'll need someone to come help us with the simple things like buying groceries or drive us from one place to another, or even help us to do our basic daily routine. When it comes also, another type is long-term care insurance. I would say exploring policies to cover instant different care expenses. That will be also important thing to consider. Build a healthcare fund. One of the best tools to prepare for medical expenses is a health savings account. The benefit of health savings account, that's HSA account, will be that the contributions are pre-taxed, and you can use those accounts not only during the retirement but already these days. If you need some bills to pay, if you have some medicine to buy, you can use the healthcare savings account, health savings account for those purposes. They will send you the debit card, and you will use the debit card in CVS or at the dentist office if you need even to do that copay. I recommend to using for any medical purposes that card, because then basically it's pre-tax money, and as my husband says, it's a 30% discount, depending, like 25-30% depending on what is your tax brackets discount. That's how he says it. And if we can pay for something with that big discount, why not? Because those accounts, they are designed to help us. So I would say, by concluding for this slide, I would say by planning ahead for your healthcare and long-term care cost, you can protect your savings and ensure access to the care that you need when you need it. It is a crucial part of that comprehensive retirement strategy that we are creating. Now, when it comes to pitfalls that we should avoid, is those mistakes. I would say the first one is when we start too late. One of the biggest mistakes is waiting too long to start saving. The earlier you start, the more you will have. Start even small, with like $10, $20, 100, wherever the amount that you can, you do not consider that required for your essential living. And also not taking advantage of employer match. I already mentioned that, because that's a what they contribute to whatever you contribute to the account, let's say 401k, that's basically free money. And leaving them behind is like not picking up $100 bill that we saw on the street. Underestimating the healthcare cost. Healthcare can be a lot of cost can be a lot, and having HSA account and counting for the future expenses will be something that will, like, planning ahead will be something that will help you to reduce that level of stress. Also, relying solely on Social Security. I do not recommend doing that, because then it may cover it may not fully cover your pre-retirement income, and you'll basically face with the situation that you will not be able to sustain the lifestyle that you had before, or the lifestyle that you want to have. Another mistake will be to withdrawing too early. If you can wait until you will qualify for 100% of that Social Security, or with the IRA accounts later than 59 and a half, that will increase the amount of what you will receive during the retirement, not counting for inflation. That is also another mistake, because the inflation is different every year, and we need to count that. Let's say if today we need, let's say, $3,000 monthly to sustain our life, maybe 10 years from now, we can't count that, okay, I saved enough to have $3,000. That will be more, because for those 10 years, the prices will increase due to inflation, and the cost of our living will also increase. Overlooking diversification. As I already mentioned, diversification is the key for that financial security. Falling to releases to receive plan regularly. Your financial need and goals can change over time. I would recommend to, once you build that plan, review it yearly. Review it annually. Maybe it needs adjustment. Maybe you didn't achieve all those goals that you plan to achieve. Maybe now your plan should change a little bit to adjust to those changes.
Malia, we do have a question here.
Okay, yeah.
So someone asked, when is the right time to talk to specific people about certain things? So when's the right time to talk to a tax advisor or a financial advisor, um, in specific stages of your life in order to get the appropriate advice?
Yeah, I would say it's never too late to talk a financial advisor. If you already have that question, it means that you are ready to talk to a financial advisor. You can visit your local branch and ask them if you can meet the financial advisor, talk about different things, because financial advisor is a great way to begin to understand your benefits and ways to increase your retirement income. They have a specific tools that will help to calculate how much you will need in the retirement, and how much you should start allocating now. And I would say you can ask them all the questions, because they are licensed, certified advisors, and I would say they are the best people to talk to about your future. So if you already have that question, it means that you are ready. Just make an appointment and talk to a financial advisor. And we actually write on that page about what you can talk to a financial advisor. Ask them all the questions. Though the conversation with the financial advisor is a great tool, and that's the best conversation you can have to prepare for the retirement. Because they will, like, do not be shy or uncomfortable. Share with them everything, how much you spend on what, and how much you're planning to spend on what. How much will you pay in taxes when you will retire? Will there be any, like, should you pay off your mortgage? Should you buy investment property? Lots of different things, like all the questions that you have in mind, ask them. Financial advisor is the best person to ask that question.
And also, do banks have like someone who is a financial advisor for free for their customers as bad points that people could take advantage of without having to pay?
Yeah. So we here at Citizens Bank, we have certified financial advisors. Sometimes they are present at the branch. Sometimes we need to make an appointment. I would say when you will visit local branch, talk to a banker, because most of the bankers, they are also certified to talk about retirement plans, and they will be able to advise you. Usually, when it comes to financial advisors, yes, they can do financial plan. There are certain preferences when it comes to how much you already have in wealth. That will give you ability to talk to different levels of financial advisors. But yeah, the first conversation is, I would say, not first. The conversation is for free. You do not have to pay for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we are almost in the end. I would say of our conversation monologue about preparing for the retirement. With the question that was asked, we already kind of on the take action slide. So I would say here, do this. Start with a budget. Do 1, 2 months of budgeting so that you can see how much you spend every month. Then that will give you understanding of how much your lifestyle cost, if you want to make any changes to that lifestyle so that you can contribute more, if you're already doing it, or start contributing to your retirement. And that will also give you understanding of how much it will cost you in the future when you will retire. Those are essential steps. Once you will understand that you can indeed may start investing for the retirement, start with the simple two main retirement programs: the 401k, so that you can take benefits of the what your employer can offer you, IRA account, that will be another tool, and open HSA account. HSA accounts, they are often opened through the employer. They just help with all those documentation, and contribute to HSA account as well, because we all have, even before retirement, we all have different spendings every month. Maybe not every month, but from now and then we go to dental offices and we need to pay for that. So that will give you ability to save already now, and whatever you will save, put to the retirement. And my advice will be, when we do our annual taxes, if we can, if we have something in return, allocate that right away to your retirement, because that's the additional, I would say, additional money that we didn't count on, that we receive back from taxes. Put them on the retirement. You will need them later. So I see that we have more questions.
Yes, someone asked about a high an HSA account, but I mentioned that not every job offers it. Um, Especially there's certain requirements such like you have to be enrolled into a high deductible insurance, health insurance option with your employer in order to be eligible for a HSA account. And if you are curious if it's offered like in your department in the state,
Yeah, you can ask HR
talk to your,
or
payroll.
payroll admin for that. Yeah, that will be so. Always talk to your HR or payroll colleague to help to answer all those questions, because they are great, another great resource.
But I think that that is it for questions for now.
Okay,
So, yeah, if we're done,
so
I'll share a few closing slides and then we can close it out. But if anybody has any questions while I close up, definitely drop it in and we'll be happy to answer
Yeah, I
before
think we
we.
still have a couple minutes, so maybe some more questions.
Yes, definitely. If the questions come up, please let us know. In the meantime, I will close us out with sharing our last seminar next week. We hit our 10 weeks of Worth and Wealth seminars for the fall. We're coming back, don't worry. Which is all about shielding your finances. So this is all about fraud and scam prevention, and especially in the age with advancing technology, this topic has been super prevalent. So please come join us to understand a little bit more how you can protect yourself, your assets, and your information. That will be November 19th. Lastly, for coaching, you are still able to sign up for coaching. The calendar is booked. However, if you email Samantha at mycoach@wealthin360.com, you are able to get on a wait list. Some slots do open up, people might cancel. So if you email her, as early as possible for some dates and times, you would be able to get something on the books with that. And lastly, we have a platform called Enrich. And if you're more curious on delving deeper into your financial education, check out Enrich for articles, webinars, mini courses, videos on all topics, including retirement. I'm pretty sure they also have a retirement tool in the website as well to check out. So please let us know if you have any questions on this. Check out Enrich. Well, no more questions, but thank you so much, Lydia. Appreciate it. And see everybody on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.